As an entrepreneur, idea validation is arguably the number one key to success. After all, it's one thing to have a great idea, but what you think is great might not be great to someone else. So if you spend your time creating something based on only what you like or what you think other people will like, you'll be too narrow in your thinking and you'll miss out on the opportunity to reach a wider audience and to hit people on that emotional level because you're not going to be speaking to their exact needs. So today we're going to show you how you can save time, money, and energy by validating your ideas without the cost of trial and error. So we're going to cover the following 3 success tips. What happens when you build something without validating? The power of validating and the validation process. And you're going to want to stay with us to the end when we'll tell you how you can learn our business validation method for free.
Hi, everybody. I'm Deidre Harder, CPA and business strategy coach, and this is my partner, Carmen Reed Gilkison, a certified whole person coach and certified online business manager. Now, we started our business, Encore Empire, to help women in midlife who want to grow a profitable online business in a way that leverages their unique life experiences and it honors their values in order to provide the financial and time freedom they have worked so long and so hard to attain. Now, we built Encore Empire on values and validation. These are some of our core beliefs and our core values. And we still maintain a strong connection with our values and continue to validate as long as we're in business. This is something that it doesn't end. Like it's not, we might hear, oh, this is what you do when you start a business, but it's really an ongoing process and it's a continual process. And so today, what we're talking about, it's not just for new entrepreneurs, although this will give you a major leapfrog into success, but this is for anyone who's been in business. You may have been in business for 3 years or for 10 years or for 30 years. Mm-hmm. We know that anytime that you are pivoting into a new offer or things are not working the same as they have been, or the marketplace changes, or the world changes, we have to use this validation process. So this is so crucial for everyone. And that's why we wanted to bring this to you today. You know, having a strong foundation and connection with our values and having validated our business has allowed us to approach our rebrand in a more meaningful and impactful way. Now we have a brand new website. We have got brand new graphics. You may have started to see some come out. We have the official launch of our rebrand is on Thursday. So you want to stay tuned for that. Check in with us here on Facebook or on LinkedIn and see what all the big excitement is about. And we are so excited that you are here live with us. For those of you who are here live with us, say hi. We want to see who's here. We want to have a conversation. Drop your questions, comments, aha moments in the comments below this video. And for those of you watching the replay, we are so excited. You have made time for this, and we're going to make it worth your while. So let us know that you're watching. All right, so success tip number 1. What happens when you build something without validating it first? Does anybody know? Has anybody done that before? Let us know. Well, one thing that happens is you run the risk of wasting time, money, and energy. Now, we hear that all the time, right? You know, saving time, saving money, saving energy, but stop and think about that for a minute. Time, we can replace money, right? We can always replace money. It's terrible when we lose it, but we can replace it. So it's not the end of the world. But you know what? We cannot replace time and we cannot replace energy. And that's why it is so critical to be working smarter and not harder. Now, if you are in the startup phase of your business, you may not even know about idea validation and how it works. And like I said, if you haven't done this for a while, or maybe you've never done it, That's what we're here to help you do, and we'll help you to understand it. And we're going to talk about, why validation really is needed. So, if you have been in business for a while, let's talk about that. Maybe you've fallen into the trap of having done some validation or at least gotten enough information from clients or potential clients to run full speed ahead and build out your offer or your service. You think you know what the problem your clients have, and you begin to build out that solution. And this can be a service, a course, or a program, however it is, whatever your offer looks like. Now, that may have worked out exactly as you anticipated, and maybe you've hit your sales goals, or maybe it didn't work out how you thought it would, or not quite as good as you thought. So, is anyone here like completely maxed out on sales? Like you're making all the sales you ever wanted, ever needed, and you really just don't want any more sales? Because if that is you, then you don't need to hear what we're talking about today, because you've hit the mother load and you're good to go. However, if you are not there yet, or maybe you hit your first sales goal, but you've got another one now, right? Like you're like, I did this, I'm going for the next level. So this is going to help you. Now, what we've seen working with entrepreneurs in business over and over again is that building out anything based on no validation or even partial validation almost always results in lackluster sales, or you may be getting the sales, but it feels like a constant struggle. You're trying to get leads and you're trying to get paying clients, and you're doing a lot of things to do it and to generate it, but you're losing a lot of time and you're having to go back to the drawing board because something isn't working. Or have you ever thought you're doing all the things and you think, maybe this is me. Like maybe I'm just no good at this, right? So we begin to self-doubt. We begin to think, well, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But it's not you. It's not that you're way off base either. Sometimes it's a small little tweak, and that's all that you need to have exponential results. Now, you might think this is the wrong idea, it's the wrong offer, I'm using the wrong marketing tactic. But most of the time, or that maybe you're just not good at selling, right? Who here loves sales and thinks they rock at it, right? Most of us don't think that. But most of the time, it's not any of those things. We tend to scrap what we've already built, what we're doing, and we start building the next thing. We're like, well, that didn't work, so I'm just going to go do this. I heard this other person's doing this other thing over here, and I'm just going to go do that. This whole, I want to build this group program, and I'm really struggling to do it. So I'm just going to go over here and have a membership instead. So we keep switching back and forth before we've ever done this validation piece. And that's what we're really talking about. And this wastes so much time and energy, and it wastes our self-esteem. So how do we avoid all of this? It is through the power of full validation, which Carmen is going to explain.
And this hits really close to home because I have gone through high ticket programs in the past and built out programs based on some research. So I thought I was doing it right. I was doing that social listening. What are the people that I want to help? What are their struggles and what are they saying about it? And I would write down what they were saying. I thought I had it. I created something and launched pretty much to crickets. And that's because I did not validate with people. And we're going to go into that today. It is very necessary. We have a question: is validation really necessary? And it is if you want to be successful. And it is if you want to feel, most of us became entrepreneurs because we really want to help people. We want to get in there, and the feeling of helping someone overcome something that you have the expertise at helping them overcome is phenomenal. But you won't get to that point if you don't validate first, because you aren't going to be doing or providing the thing that they really want and need. And that's what this is all about. So when you validate an idea with your target audience by connecting with individuals and finding out what their pain points are and their desires are, you'll be amazed at what they tell you. On the other side of the coin, you could be running with your idea and falling through the traps that Deidre just mentioned. Spending time with people that you want to sell your idea, product, and service to will enable you to create something with much more depth and clarity. So when you bring it to market, your target audience will feel that you're reading their minds. And that's because you don't need to read their mind. You actually know what it is they want and need. It's just the difference between sometimes we are farther, well, we're always farther along than the people that we're helping. And we forget really what the struggles were back, 5, 10, 20 steps back in our journey. You think you'll remember, but you don't. And when you get into these conversations with the people that you want to help, they're going to remind you of things that you're going to think, oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that. That was so difficult back then. And so you're going to be able to make and create a solution that is so much more impactful. And that's why they'll feel like you're reading their minds. It's like they're going to be going, oh my gosh, they totally get me, right? Because you have actually spoken to these people. So they want to know that the solution that you're providing is exactly what they want. They're going to feel that if you do the validation process. And there's no better way to set yourself up for success than to work collaboratively with people you want to help. When you don't do that, you're kind of over here in your little laboratory, typing away pretty graphics, putting together a program. You have all the ideas, you think you know what they want, and then you put it out. And it's just like the experience I had years ago where I put this out. I was so proud of it. I'd done a ton of work for months and months and months, and I didn't sell anything. And it was like, oh my gosh, it's because I didn't understand the power of validation. So in general, we recommend that service providers build their businesses with one-on-one offers. This allows you to sell high ticket offers and bring in the revenue you need to begin to scale. And once you've done that, adding group programs is a great way to scale. That's how we built Encore Empire. One-on-one was our flagship program model, and we stand by the value of one-on-one. Throughout the last 2 years, we've been collecting data from our clients and watching our metrics, and it became apparent that our clients wanted a group component and our prospects needed a lower entry point offer. Now, we would not be aware of these changes in our existing clientele and our market if we weren't paying attention and if we were not in conversations with them. It would be really easy to say, when you think of your target market kind of separates you from who it is you're trying to help. But when you're in the trenches with them and collaborating with them and talking with them, you remove all those barriers and those separations. And that's how you get to understand truly what is wanted by them and what they need. It's easy to fall into the trap of working in a vacuum and just going for it, right? It seems like sometimes the research and reaching out and talking, it takes time. And we're not going to lie, it takes time. You have to get into conversations. But once you get a cadence with that and you start understanding the power of it, it becomes fun. Before you get a cadence with it, before you've given it a chance, it may seem like, well, I'm not really getting anything done. And it seems like you're getting much more done if you're just building your program, but you're skipping a bunch of steps. It's like going from step 1 to step 20, and you're skipping all these steps in between. And those steps are connecting with the people that you need to connect with to make sure that what you're building is correct. And we also, we are big believers in selling something before you build it. And that seems scary, and that's a big thing to wrap your mind around. But when you have a framework, you know what the solution is going to be, you kind of know what it's going to be, but you build it with the people you sold to based on their needs, it is 10 times more impactful for them and for the people who are following behind. So it's just a different way of looking at things. But validation really just means being in a relationship with the people that you're working with, that you want to work with. We're all about relationship marketing. When it comes down to it, you're trying to help another person. So let's find out what that other person needs. So let's see. By connecting with real people experiencing the problem that you solve, you'll be reminded of so many nuances that would not have crossed your mind, as I mentioned before. It's just we forget, and we're so busy, and we're looking at what's coming up ahead. We're looking at what's next. We're growing and scaling in our own business, and we forget about what it was like back here. So it's really important to create in collaboration with the people that you want to help.
That's right. And, we're going to talk about, I want to take you guys through this 4-step validation process, because we want to educate you, but we also want to get you in action. We like to say around here, we follow the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule in just about everything. And it's no different in building your business. We want 20% education and 80% action, right? Because the action is where things happen. Like, we can know a lot of things, but if we're not actually acting upon that information, then really it's not doing you any good. So we want to give you this 4-step process. But before we do that, I want to talk about one more reason validation is so critical in your business. Now, I talk to a whole lot of people because we believe in relationships, and it's super fun to just like talk to entrepreneurs. It's just like lights up my whole day. And one of the things I hear over and over again is, how do I stand out? Like, there's so many people. There's like a bazillion coaches. There's like 1,000 people doing copywriting. There's so many graphic designers, like all of the people that we help. And they're thinking, where am I going to fit in? How is anyone ever going to find me or know who I am? Because there's just so many people doing it. So, how does that even work? Well, this validation process, this is what helps you stand out in that crowded marketplace. It allows you to get in touch with the people who are your prospective clients, and they get to know you. So not only are you validating and listening, you're making them feel seen and heard. And then they still feel seen and heard in everything you do, in all of the content that you put out on social media, on all of the programs and services that you offer, in all of the conversion events, in all the speaking engagements. Every single thing you do, you are speaking their language. They feel like you understand them. And that is how you stand out, because so much of the marketing, so much of what we see, it's all a version of the same, right? It's the same thing, a little bit different wording, but pretty much it's all the same. This is what really allows you to stand out. And people connect with you. We know that connecting with people on an emotional level is what makes all the difference in the world. And this is how you begin to do that. Now, here's the validation process. If you guys are taking notes, this would be the time to start typing, pull out a pen and paper. So I'm going to give you 4 steps here. So the first step is identify an idea that sells. Now, you're identifying the idea that's going to be the best fit for who you most want to help, and one that you can easily monetize. Now, I want to say that again, because sometimes we skip this part, right? Like, we have the greatest idea in the world, but you have to think about, is it going to be easily monetized? And when I say easily monetized, it doesn't just mean, is it an easy sale? Because we get into this trap of thinking, oh, well, if I sell something for $27, it's going to be an easy sale, right? That's easy to monetize. But it's not as easy as you think when we talk about how are you going to do this a year from now. If you want to you have to kind of reverse engineer back. Like, what is your revenue goal? How much do you want to earn in a year from now? And you have to take that and you have to divide it by the dollar of what you're selling. And that's how many clients or customers that you're going to need. And we often don't stop to think about this, but we really need to, because if you're going to build something, it might be the greatest thing in the world, but if it's going to take all this time and energy, and then it only gets you 1/4 of the way to your goal, well, then now what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. You're going to have to do another thing. And do you really have the bandwidth to do 4 different things? So that's one thing to think about when we're talking about this. Now, not all solutions are something people will pay for, mm-hmm. or it may not sustain your business. Now, I've seen a whole lot of people, they're so heart-centered, women who want to, help the world. But it may not be something that people are actually going to pay for, or they can't pay for it, right? And we want to help everyone, and we don't want to have to, we don't want to have to get into this, oh, I can only work with people who have tons of money. But what this does, when you structure this properly, you can make the money that then allows you to help everyone. And by that, I mean, it can be through a charity. It could be through giving scholarships. It could be, working with an organization, a nonprofit organization. There's so many ways. And like one of the ways that we love to help is by doing this live learning. We do it every Tuesday. We don't get paid for this. We do it for free. We do it because we love it, and we do it because we want to help. And because we do have a paid program, our coaching program, that allows us to be able to come and to give back. And so that's something that for you to think about in this identifying an idea that sells. The second one is to hone in on your top buyers. What this means is understanding who your ideal client is. This is going to help you attract them in your marketing and understanding them deeply. Okay. This is crucial research that needs to get done. And it isn't just about seeing a couple of posts on social media or talking to a couple of people. I love to ask this question, like, have you validated this with your audience? And they're like, oh, well, I saw it posted somewhere and I talked to a couple of my friends. That's not full validation, and that is not enough. We are going to give you a solution to that, though, and we're going to give you access to a resource that's going to help you with this. This is something that you need to work on. All right, so number 3, learn how to market to those buyers. You want to ensure that you understand your ideal client's pain points to a point that you can develop the solution that means the most to them, not to you. As Carmen mentioned earlier, sometimes we build what we want. We don't realize it, but that's exactly what we're doing. We want to develop the solutions that mean the most to them and help them the most. And they have to recognize that it's going to help them. That's the other part of this. So selling something you think will work is generally and usually a waste of time. So getting to know your ideal client is crucial. So step number 4 is researching your competition. Now, competition, sometimes we complain about it, or we think, like I said earlier, oh my gosh, there's so much competition. There's so many people doing what I'm doing, it makes us feel, less than, or like it's never going to work. But competition's actually a good thing. Mm-hmm. It's a sign that there's a need to fill. If you want to bring some kind of service or offer out and you can't find anybody doing it, well, one of 2 things is happening. Either you are coming up with an idea no one has ever come up with, and you might be a billionaire, or it's something that others have tried to validate it, tried to do it, and there just isn't a market, or there just isn't enough of a market that you can gain any traction in. So competition's actually a really good sign. And when we're going to send you to a resource that we have, it's a workshop that we did called the Business Validation Method Workshop. It was our signature workshop for quite a while, and we changed out. And this year we're running the Marketing Methodology Workshop. But in this Business Validation Method Workshop, we have the replays available for you guys who want to go through it and watch it. And Carmen talks about this very thing, and she talks about hamburger joints. So you definitely want to opt in so you can hear her story about the hamburger joints. Now, if you don't see others with a similar business, again, there may not be enough demand. This researching your competition also allows you to understand what other people who are serving your ideal client, what they're selling. Now, this knowledge will enable you to identify what's missing from their offers. Now, quick story, when I was in college, in my first couple of years, I went to work for a hotel chain in the marketing department, because even though I was studying accounting, I was a bit of a rebel, and I decided I was going to be an accountant with a marketing minor. And that's like an odd duck because I was told accountants aren't marketers, but I decided I was going to do it because I loved marketing and it was fun. Anyway, I got this job, and one of my duties was to go to other hotels and to do a little research. Basically, was spying on them, and I had to go over there and see what was on their little boards. I don't know if you remember, this was like 20 plus years ago. but they used to have these little, those little signs in front of the conference rooms, and they would, put on there like who was going to be meeting that day. So I would run around to the hotels and I'd be taking notes on like what companies, what organizations were using their meeting rooms. And then I'd bring it back to my marketing director. And of course she would go and she would begin pitching, for their next event. But this research, this competition research, it has been around forever. It's an evergreen business principle. Every successful business does it. And it isn't so that they can be like their competition. It isn't to copy what they're doing. Really what it is they're looking to what are they not providing? And here's the thing. If you haven't done your ideal client research and validated yet, you don't know what you're looking for. You're not going to be able to tell if there's a gap, if there's something that they're missing. But when you know exactly what your clients and customers are saying, like, oh, I want this thing and I tried this thing, but I wish that it had this, that is a gap in the market. And that is a gap that you can fill. So this knowledge will enable you to identify what's missing in their offers. And this allows you to set yourself apart from the crowd. This is your unique identifier. It's the thing that people go, oh, it's like that thing, but it's better because it's got this.
Yeah. So that's such a good point, because we always say, look for the gap in the market. And how are you going to know what the gap in the market is? And that's through those conversations. You're not only looking for maybe a pain point, like I want to make more money in my business, or I want to be healthier, or I wish I knew how to sew, or whatever the thing is that you help people with. You're also listening for, everywhere I've looked, I've found them, they teach this, this, and this, but they don't ever explain this. That's a gap in the market. And that's what Deirdre's talking about. So you've got to get in those conversations with the actual people who are looking for the solutions to be able to know what that is. And it's so important. So you're seeing across the bottom of our screen, we've got a URL rolling by. If you go to vip.encoreempire.com/BVMW, you will gain access to, it's a free workshop. It's a pre-recorded one there's modules and all kinds of things to help you work through this very thing. This is what we built our business on. We teach our clients the same thing. It's something that you can walk away with today, take action on, and understand the importance of validation. So we hope that you will take advantage of it.
All right, ladies, if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments. We are happy to answer them. And also let us know what, was this helpful? Is there anything that you're not clear on? We would love to answer your questions. And for those of you watching the replay, same thing. If you're watching it later on, please comment below. We always come back in and check what those comments are, because we leave no question unanswered in this group if we can help it.
And we will put the link in the comments in the Facebook group and on LinkedIn. So yes, we'll do that as soon as we're done here.
That's right. All right, ladies. So one other thing too, when you go through this workshop, because it's inside of our VIP portal, if you've never been inside our VIP portal, you're going to love it. For those of you who have been inside of our portal in other workshops, you know the drill, that you can answer questions. Like, we want to make sure that you're understanding and retaining, and we read your answers, because that we want to make sure you're on the right track, and we don't want you to be stuck anywhere, and we will answer any questions that you have inside that portal. So we are there to support you inside that, in this pre-recorded workshop as well. And who does that?
That's a gap in the market right there.
That's right.
All right, ladies, we'll see you next week, same time. And also look for maybe a quick and fun announcement on Thursday when we reveal our website. We might go live and show you around. So be prepared for that.
That's right.
Bye.
Bye.